Hello everyone, welcome to our Pole Science 437 final TED Talk project, and today we will talk about ice melting. My name is Robert Nikolaev, I'm a Fulbright student from Yakutsk, Russia, and if you Google a place where I'm from, you will totally be able to understand why this particular topic has been chosen. I was born and raised in the area that holds a record for the lowest temperature ever recorded outside the Antarctic, with minus 67.7 Celsius or minus 89.9 Fahrenheit. As you can see, snow and ice play an important role in lives of people living there. But is ice melting actually able to change the current political situation in the world? Can it affect the way the countries act on the international arena? Well, in this video we will make an attempt to provide an answer to these very questions. When scholars talk about ice melting, they usually refer to this map provided by National Snow and Ice Data Center. It is based on NASA satellite observations and presents a reliable and prominent information on ice reduction over the years. David Barber from the University of Manitoba compares Arctic sea ice sheet to the trees in the tropical forests. If all the trees in the rainforest of Brazil will be cut, one would expect its government to react. But the question is, can we say the same about Arctic sea ice? Well, the research has detected 4 key factors that have a potential to transform the ice melting from the environmental issue to a political one. Let's quickly go through each of them. For more than 100,000 years, the Arctic Ocean has been so thoroughly covered in ice that the very idea of fishing there would have seemed ludicrous. Well, that remained true as recently as 20 years ago. As global warming gathered pace, the area outside each surrounding nation's 200 nautical mile exclusive economic zone became open water in summer. As a result, a northward shift in subarctic fish species is already being detected. Harald Loeng from the Institute of Marine Research in Bergen highlighted 2 major issues brought by ice melting and which have not been considered before. Those are international regulation of the fisheries in the Arctic seas and the admission of non-Arctic countries to fishing outside the exclusive economic zone of the Arctic states. So just a few months ago, on the 8th of December 2017, the members of the Arctic Council and states of European Union, along with China, Japan and South Korea, agreed to ban all kinds of commercial fishing in the high seas of the Arctic Ocean for at least 16 years, with citation, the aim of improving the understanding of the ecosystems of this area, the end of citation. This is of course not a solution of the problem, but for perhaps the first time in human history, the nations of the world set aside and protected fishing habitat that essentially does not even yet exist. Up to a quarter of the world's undiscovered fossil fuel reserves are concealed north of the Arctic Circle. More than 80% of that lies beneath the sea, according to US Geological Survey estimate. Arctic sea ice loss is continually opening this area, making it so much easier to extract oil and gas, and as a result, ice melting and natural resources are the current buzzwords in Arctic politics. According to 1982 UN Convention on the Law of the Sea, countries can apply to extend their exclusive economic zone if they believe that their continental margin extends further. And this has already caused tension between states. Denmark, for example, has claimed territory around Lomonosov Ridge, which overlaps with large parts of Russia's claim. In another example, both the United States and Canada claim a portion of the Beaufort Sea in an area that is thought to contain significant oil and natural gas resources. By the way, President Trump's recent decision to overturn President Obama's 2016 ban on offshore Arctic drilling is another vivid example of how the rush to exploit oil, gas and other resources affect countries' actions. The figures are telling. The transport route Tokyo-Amsterdam is 23,000 kilometers via Panama and 21 via Suez. Whereas via the Northwest Passage the distance is 15,000 and via the Northern Sea route it is just 13. Those maritime routes until recently were just too dangerous to navigate, but as ice melts, they are becoming more frequently used for shipping. This means significant savings in time, fuel and transit fees. Canada and Russia refuse to recognize the status of international waters for these routes and the corresponding transit regime for them. Insisting that these are the territorial waters of these countries, they are defending their right to regulate the passages along these sea routes. At the same time, European Commission's 2016 report on Arctic notes the need to consistently uphold the principle of freedom of navigation, as well as legal passage through the new opening routes. The importance of counteraction to the introduction by the Arctic states of the practice of charging election fees, services, and other rules in relation to merchant ships of third countries is underlined. Freedom of navigation is also identified as one of the U.S. priorities, which is the only Arctic state that has not ratified the Convention on the Law of the Sea. Not only are Arctic states making far-reaching territorial claims, some of them are emphasizing their regional ambitions by increasing their military capabilities in the high north. While Russia has planted a flag in the North Pole seabed and is reopening Soviet-times Arctic bases, the Trump administration is committed to responding to what it calls Russian aggression. Since 2015, U.S. Coast Guard has deployed dozens of sophisticated ships, aircraft, and other maritime assets in the Alaska for the duration of shelf drilling in the Arctic. According to Walter Berbrick, director of the Arctic Regional Studies Group at U.S. Naval War College, through such presence, the U.S. is not only trying to exploit energy resources of the Arctic region, but also trying to keep its military presence deep inside it. So, is the Arctic the next superpower battleground? Dmitry Tulupov believes that such terms as the militarization of the Arctic and the battle for the Arctic are just cliches spread by the media. A military confrontation in the Arctic would be expensive, economically risky, and would pose an ecological threat to the whole region. At the same time, a number of scholars, including Georgy Ivanov, note that there is always a risk of unplanned incidents, especially with the current tension between Russia and the West, which makes it impossible to fully exclude the possibility of a large-scale military conflict in the Arctic. These were 4 reasons why Arctic sea ice matters. Thank you so much for your attention, and remember, what happens in the Arctic does not stay in the Arctic.